think it's kind of exciting that you have a brand new asset class.
We are in it to win it, absolutely. So ARKB, right, is our spot Bitcoin ETF. As we assess the ecosystem right now, what we've undergone in the last 2 to 3 months are the reverberations after 10/10. So 10/10, October 10th, was what in the crypto world, I'm not sure if it's mentioned this more broadly, is the flash crash associated with a software glitch on Binance that deleveraged the system, and to the tune of $28 billion. There are a lot of people hurt. And we think that unwind, and often when you go through an unwind, Bitcoin's going to be hit the hardest because it's the most liquid crypto asset. We think that unwind is pretty much behind us. So now the only thing I think investors are worried about, especially institutional investors who understand that they must examine this as a new asset class, the leader in a new asset class, very low correlation with other asset classes.
All right, that's Cathie Wood basically saying that she believes Binance had a glitch that caused the October 10th liquidation that pretty much took the winds out of the sails of our bull run, which I did think was really kind of sudden. And we're going to look at some things later in the video that I think are kind of interesting and kind of show some things that I think are different in this cycle, or I should say in the last cycle, since we're in a new cycle now. So thank you for being here. I am Digital Asset Guy. Nothing that I say or talk about or show in these videos is financial or investment advice, just my own opinions, thoughts, beliefs, philosophies. Here is one of them. I Trust Capital is, in my opinion, the best place to buy, sell, and hold cryptocurrency and gold and silver too, of course. You can own it inside of an IRA or in a premium custody account where you pay only a 1% trading fee and you have institutional grade custody. Excuse me. Now they have this new premium custody treasury account where it's like a business account. It's going to be interesting. We can look into that more. It's brand new. All right, so here is the blockchain backer. If you have not yet, watch his video that he posted today. It's basically saying we either have already bottomed or it's likely that we may see another sweep of the lows. Nobody knows, but then this was kind of fun. He says Bitcoin is at 71,200 right now. This was 2 hours ago. If we set a new low, what's your guess for the literal bottom? Mine would be 53,045. So I am no blockchain backer, but I put 57,000. Excuse me. For some reason, that number just sticks in my head. 60,000 just seems like it has so much support. And I don't know why. I just think 57,000 could be around where it's at. Not based off any technical analysis or anything, just the way that I feel and just what I'm thinking. So we'll see. There are a lot of fun predictions, but I think that there also is a good chance that we've already bottomed. If we look at the prices here on Coin or on I Trust Capital, we can see we've had a nice little bump from President Trump siding with crypto and the whole bank crypto Clarity Act war right now. But you can see we were down as low as like 63,000 and we jumped up here to 73. But if we look at the whole, let's see, 5 years. Why don't they give me, I want longer than 5 years, but you can see in some bear markets when you get out of there, you might see like a little bump and then you'll come and sweep the lows again. Then you think you're getting out and we'll pull back. Kind of takes a while to work out these bottoms. I've been through about 3 or 4, maybe 5 of them, bottoms, pullbacks. So anyway, I think that we are showing good signs how we broke major resistance getting over 70,000. I could see us coming back and making a lower low, or I could see us sitting here and building support. So either way, I think in a year, I think we'll all look back. And again, not financial or investment advice. I've got friends who I talk to and they say, oh, if it gets down a little bit lower, I'll buy. If Ethereum will come down to 1,700, I'll buy. If Bitcoin will come below 60,000, I'm going to go in. I've been through a lot of these bull runs and bear markets. You'll kick yourself in a year when Bitcoin's up at, back over 100,000 and Ethereum's at 4,000, XRP's back over $2.50, and you'll be thinking, why did I not buy over, a couple percent more down? I mean, that's just how it goes. So you've really got to zoom out. All right, let's keep this thing moving. I posted today, the digital asset guy is feeling great about his re-entry back into XRP at $1.16. And if we get another low, he is ready to scoop up more. So down there, $1.16, the lowest that it shows is $1.18. So I'm happy with that. If we come down even more, I've got a little dry powder left. That's what I'm doing, not financial or investment advice. Here's my video where I was talking about XRP Las Vegas. I can't wait. Hope to see you there. Put a comment below if you're coming or you are thinking about it. Okay, so here's some of the interesting things about October 10 that I just think it's a little funny how we've got some people accusing Binance of causing October 10th, and not just one person, some of the major heavy hitters in the space. And here's CZ defending it.
The highest complaint I've seen so far is on the October 10th crash. Some people say Binance caused it. I just want it's pretty clear that the tariff announcements preceded the crash, not Binance system issues or Binance doing anything. I can also tell you pretty clearly that I or Binance, we don't buy and sell crypto really in the sense of trading, try to make money out of it. We don't do that. Understand that Bitcoin itself is a $2 trillion market.
Okay, so you don't buy or sell crypto. All right, but I thought this was interesting how he is directly denying it and saying, oh, it was the tariffs. Yeah, the tariffs, that was what spooked the markets, but that was that was the biggest liquidation in history at the time where we had the most money in the space ever. And we had other tariff scares before. So I'm just, he might be totally right. I'm just saying I think it's a little funny how he defended this. He got very defensive very quick. Here is Mike Novogratz telling his thoughts.
Everyone keeps coming back to October 10th. $19 billion in liquidations in 24 hours, 70% of the carnage in 40 minutes. Yep. Everyone's pointing fingers. I bet people in this room have 3 different theories. What do you think happened? Is this a Binance leverage USDE culprit?
I think Binance screwed up. Yeah. And that had a lot to do with it, right? that wild deleveraging wiped out a lot of retail.
And it wiped out a lot of market makers.
All right, so there you have Mike Novogratz, this guy is really in the know. He's an OG in the space. And I mean, for him to say, I think Binance screwed up, it's very similar to what Cathie Wood said. These are not just your average people. And this is a pretty serious accusation they're making, and it does kind of make sense. And then here I found this article was written February 12th. not that long ago, Binance's Richard Teng breaks down the 1010 nightmare that rocked crypto. And you can read it yourself, but basically all it says is it wasn't us. Binance co-CEO Richard Teng says the October 10th crypto crash, which saw about 19 billion in liquidations, was driven by macro shocks like the US tariffs on China and rare earth controls, not Binance. So it's a little funny how they're basically just saying no and not really giving any actual evidence. Roughly 75% of liquidations occurred around 9 p.m. Eastern amid a stablecoin depegging. Stablecoins always depeg in liquidations, especially the largest one in history, and transfer slowdowns. But Tang said trading data showed no massive withdrawals from Binance, which he said supported affected users. So it's just a lot of hearsay, it sounds like to me. Tang argued that crypto remains tied to geopolitical and interest rate uncertainty. Yet institutional and corporate participation continues to grow, blah, blah, blah. But I just think it's funny how it's like what to know at the beginning. These 3 points, it wasn't us, it was the tariffs, and crypto is totally controlled by geopolitical. I think it's influenced by geopolitics and things like the interest rates. But hey, the last time we cut interest rates, it did not send us to the moon. It hardly did anything. And so I'm just saying, I think they got really defensive really quick, Binance and the leaders. And Tom Lee, he was the first one that I heard talk about the October 10th bug with Binance. And now, magically, I cannot find that video. I watched all these. I can't find the actual one of him saying that. But here's all these things. Breaking, Tom Lee says he knows who triggered the October 10th crash. I don't know anything about it. I'm not on Binance anymore. I was on the original Binance way back in 2017 or 16, way at the very beginning before we had Binance US. And then they kicked me off of Binance and said I had to go on Binance US. And it was a very frustrating, stressful thing. Not that I had that much back then, but, I remember Binance back in the day, and it is the largest exchange. So it just seems like if something like this happened, it could have caused a massive liquidation chain reaction. And I just think it's interesting how we were at that point in the market cycle where we had the most confidence in the space and we had the most capital in the space. And it was kind of just like just kidding when we had that. Also, we had the Clarity Act that was supposed to be passed in October. And then this is right after it did not pass. I remember in one of my earlier videos, I said, I thought that it was supposed to go down in October. We had the government shut down, and then all of a sudden, no Clarity Act. And when I realized this cycle was pretty much over, I remember saying, I'll bet you they string us along with this Clarity Act until they're ready to pass it after the bear market and back in the good times where they release the good news. See, here's right after U.S. Senate Committee Chair John Boozman announces the Clarity Act bill will be put to a vote by U.S. Congress before November 27th. And, there's just post after post about the Clarity Act, just like right now, how every day there's some new drama about it. The president getting involved personally. I think they're just stringing us along, getting all of our eyes on the Clarity Act. And it was the perfect way to end this bull run before it got carried away and we had an alt season and we had, that part of the market cycle we all come here for. I think it was the perfect sneaky way to end the bull run. And I'll be honest, I did not expect it. I thought we would see a $10 XRP. I thought we would see a $10,000 Ethereum. I think, Bitcoin made sense going to like 120 some thousand, but I could have seen it going higher. And some of the OGs in the space, like Charles Hoskinson right here, just happened to flip to him. Here's what he says.
How soon, Charles? How soon is this bull run?
I think after the Clarity Act passes, and there's a good chance that's going to pass in October, there's a really good possibility that we're going to see the altcoins pump. So Bitcoin will probably cap around 250, and then you'll see a lot of stuff work its way into the altcoin space with people looking for alpha.
This guy is not a dummy. He's one of the most brilliant people in crypto. He was a billionaire in his 30s with Cardano. He's just brilliant. And I've been in the room with people who know him. I haven't talked to him personally, but it was just such a sure thing it was going to happen in October. And then all of a sudden it's just taken. So my point in showing all this is just, I think that it was the perfect way to prematurely kind of end this bull run and try to keep it in the 4-year cycle like we're used to until they're ready for, everything to break loose. Because I do believe when the Clarity Act is written and signed, I think the good times are ahead. I think, I've heard some other things in rooms with people that are coming that are going to greatly improve crypto investing, other things that make it difficult for people. I'm not going to go into it, but I think when they want it to happen, it'll happen. And that'll be usually like it does in the bull markets. And you kind of can't predict when they do these curveballs that end bull runs and things. I remember FTX, that was in the bottom of a bear market, but it still was kind of out of nowhere. Here's Maxine Waters blowing Sam Bankman-Fried a kiss. And here is Caitlin Long discussing SBF and some really interesting meetings he had.
Industry in the United States. We have two players. So here's the thing. Alameda, the affiliate of FTX, acquired 80% of the equity of Farmington State Bank. And they being FTX, should have applied for approval from the Fed to make that acquisition, and they did not. Now, what is interesting, Jay Powell met with Sam Bankman-Fried for 1 hour just weeks before that March 2022 acquisition. I have no idea what they talked about, but like Larry Fink gets 15 minutes with him, but Sam Bankman-Fried gets an hour.
Well, anyway, so that's kind of interesting, and I feel like that was, FTX didn't collapse on that day in November of 2022. That's like right down here at the bottom. That's when the news was released and it hit the media. So that's the same kind of thing. But, I'm just saying these things happen right at the right times, and I get a weird feeling like October 10th was an artificial kind of end, or you could call it a pause of the macro bull run, but now we're calling it a new cycle. So, and I remember Sam Bankman-Fried, everybody would ask me all the time, my name is similar to his in a lot of ways. And people would always say, oh, aren't you a big fan of him? He's like your kind of guy, right? For some reason, I never got on the FTX thing. I watched some interviews. I couldn't figure out what he actually did to get in the position he was in. And I just never really got into it. Never touched FTX, never had an account, never owned FTT, the token, never talked about it, never covered it. And I'm glad, but I just thought something didn't make sense. It just seemed artificial to me. And so sometimes we have these things that kind of are news narratives that go along with bull markets or bear markets. And that's just how the game is played. And there's articles written and dropped at the right times. It's pretty interesting, but if you listen to what Cathie Wood and Mike Novogratz and Tom Lee are saying, it certainly would make sense that Binance caused the October 10th, or maybe didn't cause it wasn't the root cause of the liquidation, but if there was a software glitch that did force 28 billion of deleveraging, then that would make sense. And I just think it's kind of funny how they all bring it up and kind of, accuse them. I don't think they would all do that. I don't think they'd do that unless it was for real. So a lot going on in this market, but this is how it is every cycle. There's never a dull cycle. And I think right now is just a huge opportunity. So we'll see if we'll get some new lows. Who knows? But these prices are looking good to me right now. And just remember, zoom out. And if you're worried about a couple cents or a couple dollars on whatever project you're interested in, just think about if that were to 4x in 2 years, will you be worried about the small percentage, trying to wait for the price to go a little bit lower? Something to think about. All right. Thank you for listening, Digital Asset Guy.